So I'm Cesar Higgins and a fourth-year PhD student in epidemiology at the University of Michigan. My research area focuses on racialized disparities in dementia in the health and retirement study, which is a big cohort study in the United States that look at different factors associated with the aging process in older adults. My background is in biostatistics, medicine, and public health. I am originally from Colombia, and something that brought me into epidemiology is because I was interested in learning and using statistical techniques to understand how patterns of diseases occur in the population and what are the groups of the population that are more likely to develop certain diseases. So as part of my dissertation, we decided that I could apply for a diversity supplement in order to get some funding and some grant writing experience to expand my research portfolio. And I think that has been pivotal during my doctoral training. I was able to apply for a diversity supplement where I further or deepen my understanding in how racialized disparities in incident dementia are affected by different biomarkers of inflammation. I was able also to link those biomarkers of inflammation to different biological signatures of aging, like epigenetic clocks. And I was able to apply different statistical techniques to look at the pathways effects of those biomarkers in racial disparities or racialized disparities in dementia. This is how I got connected with the Survey Research Center. So it was through my diversity supplement and then the work that I was developing under that supplement. So again, as part of my diversity supplement, I started understanding and linking biological factors to racialized disparities in dementia. And one of the works that racial scholars and social epidemiologists are pushing forward is the fact that we should be using structural measures of racism instead of racialized social categories when we are studying structural racism. So this has sparked my curiosity because as part of my dissertation, I've been using racialized social categories as a primary exposure and new frameworks in racialized disparities are calling attention on social scientists to use more structural measures of racism so we can see how these structural measures actually impact the physiology and our susceptibility to health and disease. So that's what brought me closer and how I connected with the Survey Research Center. It was through that spark curiosity on seeing what are the social scientists doing in there, how are they thinking about these structural measures, how they're linking it to different biological pathways and different chronic diseases. In my case, I'm interested in learning more about dementia. So that's what brought me into the Survey Research Center. So for the most part, I've been working with Dr. Margaret Higgins as part of my dissertation committee. And again, my work has been focusing on looking at trajectories of inflammation across different racialized social groups in the United States. We look at non-Hispanic Blacks, non-Hispanic whites, and Hispanic adults in the health and retirement study. And we look at the trajectories of inflammation of these three groups. We have noticed that minoritized social groups such as non-Hispanic Blacks and Hispanics exhibit higher levels of inflammation than non-Hispanic whites. And those higher levels of inflammations are actually associated with a worsened change in cognitive status in the long term. Um, and now my next step is that I want to transition into a postdoctoral position, and I would like to expand that research line into linking now those structural measures that the Survey Research Center is developing, for example, policing or incarceration rates between Blacks and white, or neighborhood segregation, with the biomarkers I have been working on. So now we can proximally look at how, for example, incarceration rates can impact biomarkers of inflammation across different racialized social groups. So that is something that I'm curious about, and I think that it's a seed that I want to see in the future moving forward during either my postdoctoral training or my future career. So my time in the Survey Research Center have motivated my career in that I feel more solidified to continue a path in academia. I've been learning from different social scientists the importance of the work that we do, and how to carry it forward in a meaningful way. Through meetings with different scientists at different career stage, I have gotten to understand better the academic world. Again, as a first generation scientist and as a new immigrant to this country, to navigate the systems is really hard. And I think that the mentoring that I'm receiving from different members of the Institute for Social Research at the University of Michigan, and in close collaboration with the Landscape of Structural Racism and Health group that Dr. Higgins direct, have helped me understand how to vision myself as a research scientist in the future, what research lines are, let's say, worth pursuing. How is the field moving forward with respect to health disparities research, and how now that the field is moving forward toward the measurement of structural racism and the impact of this measurement in our own health, how can I bring my statistical and research design expertise into resolving those scientific questions? I think that's pretty much what is motivating my career trajectory and plans. I think also one of my biggest plans in the next 2 to 3 years is to continue applying for research grants. As a diversity supplement recipient, I think that the next career trajectory for me could be a K99 R00 Mosaic Award, where I'm trying to understand the interplay between these structural measures of racism, biological process occurring in the body, and the susceptibility that those biological processes that are affected by structural racism influence individual susceptibility to diseases. And in my case, the disease that I'm interested is dementia. One of the things that I would like for people to know and to understand about the faculty working at the Survey Research Center is that the faculty are really invested in creating a collaborative environment for new scientists. I have seen that through mentoring. I've seen that through the time that they devote to help me visualize and understand how to pursue research ideas in a meaningful way and an impactful way, how to craft the art of communicating scientific results, how to communicate scientific results not only to the larger scientific communities, but also to the communities that could benefit from it. And I think part of my motivation to want to continue working with the Service Research Center and the Institute for Social Research, and the people who have been mentoring me within the Institute for Social Research, is that they have made me feel welcome. I think as a gay man of color, walking into the academic space, that is a space with a history of colonization, segregation, homophobia, I think one of the things that have made me feel welcome is that the people who are part of the research center make sure that my voice is heard and my ideas are counted, and that my input is valuable. So I think that fostering of that environment has been crucial for me to want to work with them and continue doing this work in the long term. I hope that these answers could be helpful to all of those considering a career path in academia, especially if you come from an underrepresented background as me, and if you are at the intersection of different marginalized identity like social, sexual orientation, race, economic background, or even immigration background. So I hope that you find the answers to this question useful, and that you visualize also a career in scientific research as much as I do. Thank you.